Hello, I hope all is progressing well. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It, where we discuss myriads of topics civilly, responsibly, reasonably. The first topic we're going to jump into concerns benefits of gun training at home. The article discusses how hundreds of children receive different forms of training: gun safety training and auto safety training. Between these individuals going into a room to play with these toys, the individuals have to deal with the toys and each other. The percentage of individuals that use toys against each other, toy guns facing each other or to themselves, and the trigger rates are astounding. I think that data is very relevant, and I think research of this sort growing can be even better for what may result in safer parameters for gun usage. Now, I think everyone has rights to bear arms. Of course, the law is going to vary per state and per situation. There are situations that are dealing with how gun carry laws operate in particular environments, and which environments qualify for an individual to have a gun on site. Now, personally, I understand why people might have weapons in general for safety reasons, for defense reasons particularly, though the other side of the conversation for me concerns for sporting events. I do believe that an avenue is available, a large avenue for individuals that are into weaponry, and I think that is an area for ground supporting safety rules around weapon usage. And realistically, to see the data so apparent is allowing. The fact that the youth are finding weapons in the first place, guns in this particular case, proves that even training for the possessors, the owners of the weapons, needs to happen for those individuals for safety moving forward, because even securing a weapon requires a particular protocol, requires a mindset, requires an awareness, especially if youth are able to find. So now the article doesn't really discuss too much of the environment of which the toys are in, though youth are finding weapons in homes close enough to use against themselves and others. So I'm really glad about this research. I think more research of the sort needs to happen and needs to be in spaces to ensure that others are receiving that information when creating policies, bills. Gun safety is huge. If we, meaning people that live in America or any country that is open to owning weapons, particularly guns, need to acknowledge that ownership comes with responsibility, and the weapon of choice, whatever it may be, in this particular situation, a gun, is really dangerous potentially. It's the reality, especially if one is not in the sport for it. If one is just saying, oh, I want it for safety, to have around, to put in my purse, for whatever reason, the parameters of a weapon, especially for someone that's not using it, like I say, for sport or for safety after training, very vague and potentially dangerous for all near the weapons. So, I'm all about this research. Good stuff. The safer we can make weapon usage, ensuring people are mindful, especially before being able to purchase a weapon, the better for everyone. Very, very, very important. So, the next article I'm going to talk about concerns. I'm actually going to bring the article out right here because I read it in the paper. Of course, it's a big deal. So many good articles in the paper. And they're literally together. Ah, yes. I like this training program, the Barista training program in New Jersey. It's an article about training. Go figure. And so what I do like is the fact that about 30 to 40 people per year are set to receive a job, at least receive training to receive a job, to earn a job in a barista-like setting. Individuals that are coming out of institutional situations, like prison-like situations. So the training is happening, and these individuals are building skill sets. I like Dave's Killer Breads, Dave's Killer Bagels, which operates around a similar idea, except simply just hiring individuals that are really making life changes after incarceration. So a return to society is huge, especially in a society that is constantly developing. I don't know what incarceration means for anyone, though reading the article, I figure it can mean a lot in varying ways, especially for any that might be dealing with the situations. The article shows how some individuals attempting to re-enter society have no employment for 4 years. And I'm like, people that are in society with degrees, accreditations, are finding difficulty obtaining a job. So the other part of the article that really stands out to me is the fact that these individuals are receiving barista training to receive livable wages. So I'm very curious as to where transitions are happening for individuals returning into society, re-entering society to live. I'm very curious as to how an individual is living off of barista wages re-entering society. So that's important because I'm like, is a person able to afford an apartment? Where? How much more the program is in connection with the rest of the world outside of an institution like prison, exiting incarcerating situations. So I have a lot of questions because it really does connect to how people in society are. That people might be struggling in many ways, and if one avenue is showing an availability toward a path of success, livable wages, so an environment which is livable and affordable for a person making livable wages, and I'm curious as to what the livable wages define into in a numerical sense, just for better understanding, because there are so many parts of society at large, hitting everywhere, in which programs are simply happening. Opportunities are very available, very apparent, though not many people may know about the opportunities. Similar to reading a newspaper. A lot of opportunities are in a newspaper that I do not see anywhere else. Go figure. So a lot plays into that fact that I just mentioned, though the reality is very similar. And we can break that down in many ways as to the where, the why, the how, the when, with what. Though we're going to continue on. I just think these are very, very important topics to discuss, because we have safety and we have living in society, period. Some people are trying to enter the next stage of life. And that's really what I think a lot of people are working on improving. I don't know. We can talk about it. So, of course, now we're going to take a bit of an origami break. Yes, origami. A lot of shifting today. It's all good. So today we're actually going to do a nice little live session here with this origami because this design is quite interesting. So first thing is, it's going to be a knot. There's a particular name for this knot. I'll share it afterward. So we're just going to fold away from the design. So the design side is on the inside. Now if you have paper that has double the design, perfect. You can just work with that. Then you can literally just fold that again. So no need to unfold, just refold it right here. Afterward, just open it up. As I go through the instructions that are readily available for everyone via a link in the summary. Just open it up and there's going to just be a diagonal fold here, okay? So now there's a diagonal fold happening. Of course, it's time to turn the next page. There are 3 pages of instructions. So the diagonal fold has to happen for both sides. So basically, just gonna fold it in again. Not necessary to unfold, you can just literally fold it from the triangle. So folding from edge to edge and corner to corner. But what makes it different is that the folds are happening in different spaces. So that means it'll be easy to pop the origami in and out. That's a very important folding fact, especially when entering advanced folds. Okay? So next, we're making a triangle here. So not a diamond, a triangle. So what that means is, see, on this one side, it's easy to make a triangle on the colorful side, but if I just pop this real quick, it's going to be easier to make a diamond. Another reason why I'm saying, pay attention to how you do that initial fold. So yeah, so we just fold in slowly, as you can see, where the edges split in, that's where we're folding in, and then I'm just gonna make a triangle. So there's a triangle on both sides. Next thing is to take the top point down and just fold it to the bottom edge. Alright, so you can see I'm just gonna fold it here. Alright. Now these origami instructions, they're for easy origami. So origami being so good for the mind, it's just important to remember it's not super complex. These are not meant to be complex origamis. But if you're into more complex origami, the site may have some available. So after unfolding, just gonna take this portion up here. See, now we're just gonna fold at the lip basically. That's what we're gonna fold, right up at the lip. And then after folding up at the lip here, where we just make that new crease, we're actually gonna make this, we're gonna bend it up, a nice tricky fold. So bend it right up to match, so that the edge that's coming up is gonna match the middle line. The thing with this kind of fold is that it's like a pop out fold. So don't expect it to be extremely flat. Just goes right here. And it's gonna be working in alignment with other creases, which is a big, big deal. Because when your creases start to cross, in more complex origami, then folds can be a little bit more challenging, especially when they're multi-folds and they're smaller. So we do this side here, now we just turn it over, we're going to do the same thing on this side. Fold the flap down, press up in the middle, bring it together. Then fold. little easier now when one side is done, but even so, just be mindful. It's a pop out fold. And be gentle with the paper, because if it rips, well, who knows how the next folds will be. This is my first time doing it. So just be mindful of what kind of origami paper you're using. Alright. So now that the side is up, the next step is to go to the third page. And you're gonna have both sides looking like this. So I'm like a little bit ahead of the instructions. So then flip the right section over to the left. So whatever your right side is facing you, just flip it to the left. So this is mine, I flip it over to the left. And then left section over to the right from the back. Boom. So that's really it. Flip whatever your right is facing you, flip it to the left, and then the left side, meaning the right, if you flip it over, it'll be same thing, right side, flip it over. And then you have what you need. Now, I have to fold up the bottom point here to the top, and then fold up the other bottom point to the top. And then I have to flip the sections over again. So flip the right section over for both sides, just like that. Now, after I flip them, the right section over to the left while flipping the back left over to the right, I have to fold the bottom left and right corners diagonally up to the central crease. So that's it. So I have to fold this, make a diagonal. See that? I'm making a diagonal. That's it. Folding it up to the central crease. I have to do this on both sides. So it's going to fold up here, and now I have to start to open the knot. So there's this knot. So basically open the knot like this. So it's like it's facing you, not me, but so you can understand. You're gonna open the knot like this, and then as you're opening the knot, pull the two ends like a bow and press the center down. And voila, wow, look at that. And this is called the Origami Love Knot. Wow, that's really cute. I actually like this one. This is nice. What? Yeah, that's a nice little. Wear this, when you go out somewhere, you can just put the bow tie on it and just rock it out. This is actually cute. See, you can always get really decorative with origami. It's so fun. And you can share it. You make it with someone, you can share it. Perfect. So, recently I watched two films. The first film I watched is Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer looks really good on screen. I think the acting partners fulfill the film very well. I find the fact that nuclear technology is so immense makes the film that much more immense, aside from the bureaucracy which we enter throughout the film. What I do think of when I hear conversations of Washington in the film, of course, if anyone's familiar with Ayn Rand, she is one of the greatest authors ever. And in her text, Atlas Shrugged, The Fountainhead, she does enter these bureaucratic spaces very intellectually, very wonderfully set, to show that operations can vary in different instances, especially in connection with quote-unquote Washington. So I really like the way that the film is set together to show differences between fame, between wealth, between funding, between the international relations in connection with war. Of course, we are not in the 21st century, though we are dealing with situations that affect the 21st century in terms of the conversations, in terms of how people approach nuclear technology and science. And I think the film is sharing a history of a period in a cool way. Now, with that, I feel like the film brings to attention a lot of responsible parameters for anyone to consider, especially dealing with science. Because science is very interesting in that it's like dissecting as well as creating, discovering, and sharing. So, do I feel as though a moral dilemma is within the science? Not necessarily, though, when it comes to the bureaucracy of what to do with the science. Then I feel the moral dilemmas start to shape, because war, anything really concerning life, can be extremely touching. And I feel as though Oppenheimer's development in connection with the outcome of the research, the science, is sound, though I feel as though anyone entering the space of such research, even if not to that degree, to another degree, can be more understanding. And we really deal with how many people are actually understanding, are reasonable throughout. The film does become a bit of an art house type film toward the end to really show how the results of nuclear war might affect individuals, showing dichotomies of how people really need to feel, perhaps how people really do feel inside, though are not reflecting or not showing because of perhaps a patriotism, a blind patriotism, or not because of blind patriotism, though just because of a fuel through a line using patriotism as a label, and all within the umbrella of a means to an end. The film has political aspects, though I think the film's showing how a lot of life is in connection, and how the developments of what the science is working with is exactly that. All the elements are necessary to tell the truth. Now we can move on to the other film I watched, Mission Impossible. Yes, I feel like the film is really good, looks good on screen, the acting partners fulfill the film well, very classic touches, videographies, the cinematic touches are really nice and have a different tinge each time, especially during the action scenes. The score is on point. Good job on the score. Really engaging with the action. The videography, the editing is so on point. I mean, the film is put together really well. It's really entertaining, and there are a couple of scenes where I'm like, how does this work in an action sense? Though I can put the ideas together in the writing sense, I look at the film curiously at times. Though the film offers so much entertainment. We're looking at new characters, new factors to resolving a situation. We're looking at tragic situations. I mean, the film is just full of touching moments, and like I said, the acting partners fulfill the film well. And realistically, what really connects the film, aside from the acting partners doing such a phenomenal job, are the score and the video editing, the videography. All that together really sets the film in a situation to say, wow, kudos on lengthier portions as well, keeping it classic. Really nice touches on the film. I think the film is very entertaining. And yes, I believe there is going to be a film afterward, because this is only a part 1. Good job on that video work. Oh my goodness. Wow. All right. So we're going to be talking about a topic that I really enjoy, of course, a book. Why Good Sex Matters, Understanding the Neuroscience of Pleasure for a Smarter, Happier, and More Purpose-Filled Life by Dr. Nan Wise. I like the text because entering this text, I start to engage with more of a psychological aspect of the sexual realm. Not that I'm a stranger to any of it, though the focus is clearly on the brain's development and on the mind in connection with sexual intercourse. And revolving on these aspects of sexual intercourse are very important. We're not looking at simply techniques. We're not looking at simply just a mention of the brain in connection with good sex, how sex can be purposeful, how one's life can be purposeful all throughout. I mean, this text is really covering what many other texts that I've come to read discuss. Finding ways to heal beyond trauma, though finding a way to heal in a way so that is still inviting, as the author mentions, good hedonism, healthy hedonism. So revolving around pleasure in a good way, not shying from pleasure, not putting any stigma that makes pleasure seem negative, especially pleasure in connection with sexual intercourse. And sexual intercourse is not just penis and vagina sex, actually. It's just anything. It's like an appetite. It's like a sexual course, like what you do sexually, sexual intercourse with someone, perhaps yourself. So the text does offer a lot. I learn a lot from the text. I love reading books of the sort because these books help me become more aware so as to be better in a relationship with a potential romantic life / romantic partner. And considering I just want to make sure the woman that I'm with is wonderful, I have to consider what available information is for me as well as for her, because the establishment of such understandings will benefit generationally. I really appreciate the text, and I do find the text references other works which are important. Of course, like I said, the text is focusing on realistically how the mind, the brain, is working with sexual parameters. So I think we're looking at a different, we being anyone that's entering this text as a reader, a different understanding of, before we engage in any physical sense, we're going to have to deal with the context. And this is a text that does revolve heavily around context in connection with sexual intercourse. Of course, though, context in the brain, context in the mind. The mind is more of a suitable term to use than brain in this instance, because that's what we're really dealing with. The development of the mind in relation to sexual intercourse and how to live a good hedonistic a life toward good hedonism, a life of good hedonism, healthy hedonism. Pleasure is good, and good sex can be very pleasurable and good for literally a healthier, longer, wonderfully lasting life. Thank you for joining me for another episode of I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It, where we discuss myriad topics reasonably civilly. I hope to hear from you. Remember, I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It works in tandem with Pieters, www.pieters.com/forum. So please leave a comment, join the conversation, share what you might want me to review. And I'm going to potentially take a gander and review. So in conversation, and I don't know, we can talk about it. Because in reality, hey, I'm learning. But I don't know everything. So we can talk about it. Onward and upward, Kevin Dufresne.